Hey there, it's Liam, and welcome to The Coziness Code, a channel dedicated to helping you unlock maximum coziness in your home. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about how to display books. We'll cover things like the rule of three, the use of triangles, and some other really helpful tips that you can use. Let's get into it. The first and perhaps most important rule that I can share with you is the rule of three. Simply put, you can achieve a more pleasing composition of furniture and decor if you group things by three. When it comes to displaying books, apply the rule of three by displaying your books with two other decorative items. That could be a ceramic vase, it could be a bowl, it could be a bookend, it could be a plant, anything like that. So it's your books plus one decorative item plus another slightly different size decorative item. Now it's important to know that the rule of three can also be applied to things like shapes, textures, colors, right? Not just the number of items, but the degree of variance amongst those things that I just mentioned. You might put a collection of older books with a cleaner, newer looking ceramic vase. You might put newer books with a rough piece of clay pottery and maybe something that is glass. So you want to vary it up, but make sure you're sticking to three different types of items, and the books all count as one thing. This rule could also be expanded into the odd numbers rule, because groups of 5 items or 7 items are also really pleasing to the eye. Moving on to triangles. Now triangles are another interior design or decorating principle that you can follow, and the idea is that that collection of items that you have make a triangular shape if you look at the outline of those items. It's generally believed that triangles are pleasing to the eye because they match up with the golden ratio or the golden mean. And without getting too deep into what the golden ratio is, basically there's this composition that is based on a mathematical ratio that when you put items in a composition, whether that's in a painting or in interior design, when you put them in that arrangement, they tend to be more pleasing to the eye. And this is because this mathematical formula is found everywhere in nature. And nature is, of course, the most beautiful thing that we have. Now, this does not need to be complicated. The easiest way to apply this rule of triangles is to get down at eye level with your arrangement of books and other decor items and kind of trace the outline that those items make when you look at them. So do they make more of a square shape, right? It's like a box when you trace what these things look like, or do they have that triangular arrangement? Now, there's two ways to achieve a triangle. You can have one side with the tallest item and then everything goes from tallest to shortest, or you can have the tallest item in the middle and then have the two shorter items, hopefully they're not exactly the same height, they can go on either side of that tall item in the middle. So both ways create triangles. Now lastly, some quick tips. Plants are really good to use with books because they bring a lot of different shapes, texture, and color. Some of those organic shapes that we get from plants and from flowers and from maybe dried grass are things that we don't get from blocky books, right? So that variance of shape and variance of color and texture really help to elevate that little display that you're making. Also, consider your color palette. If you have a lot of items in your home that are of a certain color palette, maybe they're all a darker color or maybe they're all a lighter color, then you generally want your book display to follow that set of colors that you use. You don't want to change it up dramatically when you're decorating around books. On the flip side, if you have a lot of really bright colors that pop throughout your home, then make sure that you have at least one or two of your items in your book display also have that pop of color, so that it goes with the theme. Now the last thing to consider is the orientation of your books. So you have the pretty standard orientation where the binding of the book is facing outwards like you would see on a shelf. Then you also have stacked books. You know, you might put those on a coffee table or even on a shelf as well. You could stack books. And then finally you have front facing, which is something that you typically see in something like a bookstore, but it can also be a way to display your prized possession, right? Your books that you really love. Maybe they have a beautiful cover, you know, maybe they're artistic or something like that. It's something that you want to really show off. So consider one of those 3 ways to arrange your books. So that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this guide to displaying books. If you like to read, consider checking out the other video that I made about how to create a cozy reading corner. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.